Peace and blessings. Welcome back to the channel. Once again, I'm Dr. Bobby Price, and today we're going to talk about 10 ways you can detox heavy metals out of the tissues, out of the organs, and this could actually improve your health greatly. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, should I be concerned about heavy metals? And where are these heavy metals coming from? And what heavy metals? We'll get into that. And then we'll also talk about some conditions in which heavy metals are often the culprit, but they're unfortunately the last thing that's looked at and tested for. You see, most healthcare professionals aren't taught a lot about heavy metals, and it's unfortunate that many of the heavy metals you could be getting from modern medicine or your food supply, okay? Which is severely unfortunate, because when you think about what the job of the FDA is, it's food and drug, okay? So we'll talk about that, and then I'm gonna give you 10 ways that you could actually get rid of heavy metals, okay? All right, so let's get into it. Heavy metals. Which heavy metals do you need to be concerned about? Mercury, most certainly. In the hospital in which I worked at, if somebody were to have a mercury spill, and this happened one time where a thermometer fell and broke, and mercury, it was a big thermometer, and when it fell and broke, the mercury spilled out. We had to clear out. We had to have the hazmat team come in with suits on and clean up the mercury. Like, it could be that dangerous. So we do that in the hospital. So where are you getting mercury from? You're probably asking. You could be getting mercury from eating a whole bunch of fish and sushi. You could be getting mercury, unfortunately, from certain medications and injections, or just the water supply in general, okay? And a lot of people end up with mercury toxicity, especially those who are pescatarian or who eat a lot of fish, because a lot of the mercury is actually in the rivers and in the oceans, particularly in the ocean, all right? Now, what are some of the signs and symptoms of mercury toxicity? Light sensitivity. So you're gonna be sensitive to the light. So if you notice all of a sudden you're very sensitive to the light, it could be mercury toxicity. Peripheral neuropathy. That's when you're having pain or tingling feeling in like your fingertips or your toes or lower limbs, okay? Also, sometimes your nails will actually just fall off, okay? I actually had a cousin who his nails would just fall off. And we all thought it was like strange until got him tested and he had mercury toxicity. You'll also notice that people with mercury toxicity will have an excessive body odor, okay? An excessive body odor, and sometimes hair loss as well too, all right? So that's mercury toxicity. Another heavy metal, lead. Lead could be often found in the water, or if you live in a home that was painted in the early 1990s or 80s, before lead paint, was outlawed, and you're probably saying, well, I live in an older home, but we have new paint on it. Well, most of the time they just paint over the paint, so it's still there. But it also could be in the water supply, like it was when it was, we had that issue in Flint, Michigan, okay? And what happens when you get lead toxicity? The gums can become, essentially a bluish purple, okay? So if all of a sudden your gums become bluish purple, and also if you have these horizontal nail lines, okay? Horizontal, meaning going across like this, white nail lines, that could also be a sign of lead poisoning as well too. Arsenic, which quite often is polluting our environment from pesticides, herbicides, insecticides. It pollutes the ground and it pollutes the groundwater. It can lead to hyperpigmentation. It can lead to a very bad odor as well too. So that's arsenic. You also have aluminum toxicity. Where are you getting this from? Using the aluminum foil and when cooking. Also from deodorant. A lot of antiperspirant deodorant has aluminum in it as well too. And probably from unfiltered water as well too. It's contaminated in tap water as well too. And aluminum will attack the nervous system, okay? And then another heavy metal will be something like cadmium. Now, all of these heavy metals, when they become at toxic levels, and many of these heavy metals, we need none of them in our bodies, which means that when they come into our bodies, they're very difficult to get out because our bodies are not supposed to have them in the first place. They will end up in the tissues, and they will also end up in the bones as well too. All right, so that's the type of heavy metals, and that's a lot of where you're getting them from. What kind of issues did it cause? They cause thyroid issues, okay? So if you have a thyroid disorder, and let's say, for instance, you started having some sea moss, okay? Check out the sea moss on the website, which increases iodine. You started to consume selenium. You can get that from Brazilian nuts. And all of a sudden your thyroid doesn't improve. It could be due to heavy metals. Cardiac issues. You have to remind yourself that the cardiovascular system runs on electricity, literally. That's why when we lose our heartbeat, we have to use defibrillator paddles to electrocute or shock the body to get the sinus rhythm going again. But when you have these heavy metals, just think of it like this. What happens when you take a metal and then you put it into an electrical current, okay? It can wipe out the current, or at least throw the current off, okay? So that's how it can affect our cardiovascular system. Hormonal issues, and the reason why is because a lot of these heavy metals land on the same receptors that the hormones would land on, and as a result, they block the hormones from actually carrying out their action. All right, so it can create hormonal issues as well too. So you could be trying to address your hormonal issue, but the real issue is that you got a heavy metal toxicity issue. Okay, so that's really important. It also can block the proteins as well too, which could affect your hair growth. It could cause anemia. It could block antioxidants, which are very critical for, our immune system, and also just getting rid of free radicals in the body as well too. It can make our immune system hyperactive, okay? A lot of the vaccines contain thimerosal and aluminum and mercury. And because of this, these heavy metals, when they get in our bodies, they can cause, that's why they're actually there, to stimulate the immune system, but they cause the immune system to be overactive. And when you have an overreactive immune system, this can not only lead to issues of autoimmunity, where your immune system begins to attack you, okay? But it also can lead to issues cognitively as well too. So that's really important. Chronic fatigue, if all of a sudden you notice that you're very fatigued, and then, as I mentioned before, cognitive issues. So these are all the things, just a few of the things that heavy metals could be causing the issue. And no matter what you're doing, if you're not addressing these heavy metal issues, these issues won't go away. Even muscle pain and muscle cramping and muscle spasms could be caused by heavy metals as well too. So what we're gonna jump into is 10 ways that you can naturally address the problem. 10 ways you can get the body to detox these heavy metals out, because they don't readily remove themselves, because most people's detoxification elimination systems are backed up or stagnant and blocked, okay? And so your liver is not doing the job that it can because it's dealing with all the sugar that you're eating. Your kidneys aren't doing the job that they should because they're dealing with all of the acidity in the body, okay? Most people's elimination routes to get rid of waste are stagnant and blocked up. And this is why these heavy metals begin to accumulate in the body. But don't worry, there's natural things that we could do to get rid of them. The first and most important thing is this. You have to eliminate your exposure, okay? I've had people who worked at certain jobs that they didn't realize they were exposing themselves to, aluminum or mercury every day. Concrete plants. People don't know that there's a lot of those heavy metals in the concrete. Even if you don't work at the plant, if you live near one, children are commonly, affected because of the fumes coming from those plants. And even if a school is close by to those plants. So eliminate your exposure. If you're eating a lot of sushi, eating a lot of fish, be careful about that. Change your deodorant. If you have mercury fillings, okay? Mercury amalgam fillings. If you look in your mouth and you see the fillings that are like black in color, okay, or metal in color, then you have mercury fillings. You're getting exposed every time you take a bite of food or grind your teeth. That's something that you need to go to a holistic dentist for. You need to start filtering your water, or don't drink tap water at all. I don't recommend you drink it at all, or at least get a reverse osmosis filter on your sink. Okay, so that's the first thing. Eliminate the problem first, because none of these others work unless you do that. All right, number two, eat foods that are high in sulforaphane. Okay, sulforaphane. All right, the reason why these are important is because they support the detoxification of these heavy metals. All right, so these are cruciferous vegetables, these are sprouts. These are the things that actually help you as well too. So start to incorporate that into the diet. Number three, diatomaceous earth. Okay, food grade. Look it up for yourself, but it is a natural substance, and it will actually bind up arsenic, lead, and cadmium. Okay, so you could use diatomaceous earth as well too. It's one of the binders that I recommend people use when they do my detox. Okay. Number four, humic or fulvic acid. Humic and fulvic acid are essentially organic compounds that break down into the soil, and they create this resin. And that resin is what helps to not only deliver nutrients to the body, but it also helps to remove toxicity from the body as well too. So you can incorporate humic or fulvic acid. All right, those are really good as well too. Number five, cilantro or culantro. Okay, those sound the same, but they're not the same. I use culantro. We grow it on the farm. Comparably speaking, I like culantro because the taste is better, and culantro is more of an original herb. But you also can use cilantro as well too. And the benefits of cilantro that people don't understand is that it upregulates detoxification in the liver. Okay, it's a potent chelator, meaning it will bind up toxins, not only heavy metals, but other toxins as well too. It's very effective at removing mercury. However, this is the big point. If you're going to use a lot of culantro or cilantro, it's important that you never use this to get rid of heavy metals unless you're using a binder with it, because cilantro will pull out heavy metals, but then you're going to have a problem getting it out of the body. Okay, again, most people, even children today, have very stagnant elimination systems. Okay, that includes the liver, that includes the lymphatic system, that includes the lungs. People are not able to get rid of gases as well too by breathing properly, because they don't breathe properly. People don't have great kidneys. People don't have great, digestive system. So elimination is the issue. So if you're going to use cilantro, and the next one that I'm going to talk about, you need to use a binder, because it will pull it out of the tissues, maybe even pull it out of the bones, okay, the heavy metals. But then you have to get it out of the body. So make sure you use a binder. And a lot of people miss this one, and they get all of the heavy metals out. And because the heavy metals out of the tissues, and now the heavy metals can't get out of the body, and they start to experience what are called healing crisis or Herxheimer reactions, where they think they feel bad during that process. Okay, so it's just really important to use binders. The next one, number 6, is cracked cell chlorella. Okay, cracked celled chlorella. Okay, don't just get regular chlorella, get cracked cell chlorella. Okay, same thing. You want to use a binder as well too to help get these heavy metals out, especially if you know you have a known heavy metal toxicity. Okay, hugely important. Number 7, Sheilat. Okay, Sheilat is basically the breakdown of plant-based substances that creates this resin. And it often, Sheilat is used in Ayurvedic medicine and is used for detoxification, among other things as well too. Athletic performance, increase in energy, male fertility, increase in strength, The list goes on, but also detoxification as well too. And Sheilat specifically typically comes from the Himalayan mountains, and it's often found between rocks. Okay, is just the breakdown of plant-based organic substances. And it can get rid of mercury, it can get rid of lead, it can get rid of arsenic, and 12 other types of heavy metals as well too. Okay, so Sheilat is something that I do probably 5 days out of the week, not only for this, but for all of the other things as well too. Okay, I'll say 3 or 4, not 5 days, maybe 3 or 4. Okay, but it's just really important to get a good source of it, because there's a lot of crap on the market. This is a lot of stuff that's not good on the market. So you just have to be very careful about the quality of what you're getting. And I'll tell you is, if you want quality in this lifetime, you have to pay for it. So this is just one of the options. It's probably one of the more expensive options. So you can use everything else instead of using this one. All right. Number 8, activated charcoal. Okay, activated charcoal. Some people say that activated charcoal doesn't do a good job with removing heavy metals. Then other people say it does. Okay, but in any case, when you're removing heavy metals, it doesn't hurt to help remove other toxins. And activated charcoal is not only something that we use in holistic medicine, it's something that we will use in a hospital too if somebody were to have, let's say for instance, a drug overdose. All right, so it's not only something that we use in natural medicine. It's something that we use in a hospital as well too. And so it can help bind up toxins in the body and help them be removed through the body, through the digestive system. Okay, so that's number 8. Number 9, increase your vitamin C. Okay, my favorite way to increase my vitamin C is with bell peppers, green, red, yellow, your choice. Also, Chlorella or Barbados cherry. I have a couple of trees on my farm. They have about 873 milligrams of vitamin C. So that's a plus for me. It's going to be difficult for you to get, but Chlorella is a great source of vitamin C, and you can get that probably in the powdered form. Blueberries, a great way as well too. So increasing your vitamin C is actually going to help you detoxify these heavy metals out of the body. Okay, so use this in combination with the other things that I talked about. Number 10, Brazilian nuts. Brazilian nuts are good because they're loaded with selenium. Selenium helps to upgrade liver detoxification. You have 2 phases of liver detoxification, phase 1 and phase 2. And selenium, which is the antioxidant, will help to upgrade, I do believe, phase 2 liver detoxification. This is going to help take that heavy metal, make it into a less harmful form to be delivered out of the body, okay? All right, so it'll wrap it in fat to be delivered out of the body, all right? So Brazilian nuts are really, really helpful when it comes to getting rid of heavy metals and even detoxing in general, just because it helps with the detoxification process in the liver, all right? And then a bonus, eat a high fiber diet while you're doing all of this, okay? Fiber will act like a chelator and binder too, and bind up some of the waste that's being sort of metabolized and broken down so that it could be delivered out of the body. If you do not have a high fiber diet, you can't form a stool. To form a stool, you need fiber, okay? And when you're forming that stool, when the stool that you see is mostly fiber, okay? It's the fiber taken out of the diet, okay? So the more fiber you have in your diet, the more likely you're gonna be able to get rid of these heavy metals and other toxins as well while you're on this sort of detoxification plan, all right? So increase your fiber, which takes me into, I just essentially gave you a great way to detox in general. This is why when you think about my detox, this is part of what it is, all right? Increasing the fiber in your diet, so you're primarily eating plants on the diet, okay? The only place you can get fiber is from plants, all right? To help bind up all of these toxins and the waste in your gut and all over your body, all right? I'm gonna have a binder in there as well too to assist with that process. So I gave you a couple of binders that we talked about here. All right, I gave you a couple of foods that are really key in terms of like being superfoods to help with that detoxification process. All right. The only other thing you need now is either the full body detox to get rid of the parasites and the candida, and then to open up the liver, the kidneys, and the digestive system so you can have actual bowel movements. Okay. So with that being said, I want to invite you to join my 30-day group detox that starts on September 1st. Now, the deadline to join is August 19th. All you need to do is go to the website, drbobbyprice.com, to sign up. Make sure you get the 30-day group detox. Or if you like Dr. Price, I need to detox right now, you can get my 14-day detox or my 28-day detox. However, the 30-day group detox comes with an online support group. I'll be coaching you inside of that online support group as well too for 30 days. Also, you get a 30-day supply of the herbs to get rid of the parasites, the yeast, to upgrade the lymphatics and the liver and the kidneys and the digestive system. You get the tummy detox, which is gonna pull that 10 to 25 pounds of undigested feces that's just sitting there as a belly or a fupa. All right, so that's what you're gonna be doing for 30 days. You're gonna get a meal plan, you're gonna get recipes, and a whole lot more, okay? So check it out on the website, drbobbyprice.com. But if you have been exposed to heavy metals in any of the ways that I mentioned before, these are great ways that you can start to address the issue, even if you don't do the detox, all right? So make sure you share this video. Let's make this kind of content go viral. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you have not hit the subscribe button, because almost 53% of you are not subscribed. And I'll see you in the next video. Until the next time, peace and blessings and Godspeed.